Da 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 da! What's my good cheer? Oh, I can do a little bit better than that. Da 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 da! What's my good cheer? Welcome, everybody. Let's give YouTube a couple of minutes to get those notifications out. Let people know that I've gone live. And in the meantime, if you've never popped into one of my lives before, hi, I'm Cindy. I explore the inside and the outside. And on this show, What's My Good Dear? For the past 6 months, we have been picking randomly a powerful word and working with it every single day for an entire week. And the plan was not to work with each word for an entire week, at least not all words, right? I mean, some words I put on that list that I didn't think that I could maybe even speak a half an hour on. And then I thought, oh, well, then we'll just pick on a next word. But in the sequencing of the words, and for me, these words have been coming in the most opportune and inopportune times at times, but it is lessons, and they're much needed lessons for myself. Uh, we have this word this week, halfway through, word number 28. We got this word goals today in my going ons in my second day off, right? Running around like a banshee, cleaning the house, getting all my laundry done for next week, my house, a few projects done. I have a few more things that I would like to get done. But if I don't get any of that done, I'm going to be proud of what I accomplished. This word goals that we had this week, I was thinking today, how it has impacted me. And I would say, well, I started on YouTube and on Instagram in 2017. YouTube gave me something for myself, something that only belonged to me. Lots of women, if you want something that maybe you can relate it to. I never had children myself, but that feeling of something that no matter what, how bad your life gets, this one thing, this one child is yours. That baby is yours, right? And my channel was mine. And, when I started on YouTube, I started goal setting. I started right away because you have to push yourself, right? Nobody I knew was doing YouTube when I started on YouTube. Nobody was cheering me on in the things that interested me and the things that I wanted to bring to the table in my building of my brand, PrairieDodgers, right? And then this week, we get this word goals, right? This word that has impacted my life greatly ever since I've been on YouTube. Like I said, 2017. But let's go back a little bit further than 2017, maybe even a week, right? Goals. What role did goals play in my life? And, right, I could very easily do this, right? Because in my mind's eye, this is what I'm thinking when it comes to goals, setting goals for my things, for myself, right? Um, setting end game goals for myself, things that would help improve my life. And when I look at this in my past life, in prior to 2014, I started my platforms. Prior to 2014, I had no goals. Zero, right? The only goals, and when I said I wanted to do this, there was only one goal that I consistently, right, brought into my life. And that was the goal to lose 20 pounds, 30 pounds, 50 pounds. So when we talk about goal setting, this is what I have to relate in, not now, but prior to 2014, because it was never anything that was introduced to my life. It was not something that was part of my makeup. It wasn't something that was taught to me, except in that respect to losing weight. And even then, it wasn't really taught to me because, right, the first time that we didn't have the money for the vitamins or didn't have the money for the fruits and vegetables and the meat, right, I would be taken off my diet as a necessity, right? And I didn't mind because being on a diet, well, that seemed like punishment to me. Goal setting, punishment, right? This is how I looked at dieting. No wonder I could never succeed in a diet, right? Because I always looked at it as, right, what did I do wrong, right? No to the second helpings, no to the treats, right? You see that weight going on, you see the look in people's faces when you walk by, and right? It was the only thing that I could think of when I'm reflecting back to this prior time from when I started my brand. So we're going to talk this week about my brand, right? And in the goals that I set for myself, and in the baby steps, in the learning to goal set, right? Because I had no idea. I didn't think it was anything I was entitled to. I right? I walked into this game at 57 years old, totally blank, not understanding what I could possibly accomplish if I set some goals for myself. These were lessons that started to come to me when I started working on my brand. And if you haven't been to my main channel, right, to get a better understanding of the person that I am, the journey that I've been on, the struggles that I've had, and the miracles, and actually to get a good taste and a good look at the person I was and the person I am now and the person that I'm becoming, because it's all tied in now to goal setting, because it's how I move, right? It's in having a stick and having a bag at the end of it, right? And in goal setting, I've learned to reward myself because in my programming, right, that good child, bad child, right, it was a lot of rewards, a lot of punishment. So, as much as I can set that bag for myself to reach a little bit further, to move a little bit further, I can self sabotage too. I can take in the looks and the misunderstandings, and right, that confusion in people as to what I'm doing, even in that like what are you doing, like I need to be asking somebody's permission to be able to do the things that I want to do. 2014, right? I thought I was going to be a YouTube superstar. Go to my main channel, take a look at my content. I was an urban explorer, not a very good one, but I had a passion for it. I loved what I was doing, and I loved serving it to people who might not have the opportunity to ever experience what I was experiencing, right? And that's the thing about goal setting. You get to experience, right? You set those goals and you start moving towards them. And sometimes we have no idea how to go about. I had no idea, right? Goals were something totally foreign to me in 2014. Totally foreign to me, but I fell in love with my brand. I fell in love with YouTube. I fell in love with how it made me feel, the way it made me feel like I had some value, that I had something to contribute, right? So I started goal setting, right? And at first it was what was going to be my next explore, and how I was going to edit the video, how I was going to present it, right? How I was going to show people the possibilities of, right? And these were all lessons for myself in the baby steps since 2014. It's now 2024. It's now 10 years later. And I should have lost my brand a few years in. I didn't have a job, right? In not understanding the idea of goals and moving forward. These are lessons that at that moment was totally foreign to me. But in my passion for my brand, in those small lessons that eventually dripped into my system like saline solution, that I was able to I was able to pick up a few clues and cues, right? Because sometimes we need to know when that right moment is to jump in, because if you let us, we'll stand at the edge of that diving board all day long, right? Sometimes we do need that boot, right? To realize that maybe that jump is not so scary. But these were all lessons that I picked up along the way, along with the lesson of goal setting. I wouldn't be sitting here right now if it wasn't for the lesson in goal setting, because goal setting gave me the courage, it gave me the gumption, it gave me the accountability, it gave me the responsibility to keep showing up, right? Just to keep showing up, never giving up. And here I am 10 years later, right? And my brand, right? Is it a big hit? To me, it is. To me, it is, because I literally believe that I would have been lost, right? And in my loss, I think it would have been a great loss. It wouldn't have just been a great loss for me, but it would have been a great loss for others, because in, right, picking up the lessons and stuff, you actually really get to take a really close look at yourself and others and what you contribute to the story and what others contribute to the story. And if you want a good comparison, well, all you have to do is compare, right? The offerings of yourself and the offerings of others, to recognize whether or not there's any movement forward, because in the end, that's what it is, right? In that goal setting, right? So we're going back to choices, because change does not happen without making those choices. The moment you make a choice, the moment you take one step towards achieving that choice, that goal, right? There's the possibility of being swept up by that, like literally being swept up by that. And it's happened to me a few times and landed me in places that I never thought could have or should have been possible. And yet there I was, and I reveled in the dazzle and amaze of what I accomplished, because I accomplished that. I made those choices. I made those steps. I made those things manifest, right? Nobody, nobody. I was taught nobody was going to do it for me, right? And that's a hard one to choke on, right? And I was determined to try anyway, figuring that somewheres along the line that somebody would come to save the day, just to realize that that person that was coming to save the day was me. Hello, Sharon. Hello, Sharon. Nice to see you popping into this show, right? What's my good cheer? This is my Monday to Friday. This is my Monday to Friday show. And we picked this word this week, Sharon, of goals. And, you know, Sharon has been with me for years and years. And it's really neat that Sharon popped in tonight, right? Or this week when we have this word, because Sharon has been a very large part and a very large in the way of cheerleading in my goal setting. And she knows very well how I can, right, just stumble in and just move with that current and manifest these wishes, dreams, choices that I make. And Sharon herself has done the exact same thing, right? She set a goal to come and visit me, and she actually did. And she lives in California, right? And she ended up here in Winnipeg, Manitoba. Most beautiful time of the year. Wasn't it beautiful here? All those colors. I couldn't have picked a better time for you to come here. And yet, wasn't it a miracle, even to the minute that Sharon left? Because when I dropped Sharon off at the airport, I just turned around and I just started driving to Toronto. And if it hadn't worked out the way it had, it would have been a goal that I might have failed in. But because I made that movement, right? Because I didn't stop when it seemed impossible, when things really truly did seem impossible, but I just kept going. I kept trying it, didn't I, Sharon? I says, I have no idea how this is going to work out, but it's going to work out. And sure enough, right in the last couple of days, just bang, 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 right? And I accomplished one of the amazing trips of my entire life. I suspect I'm going to have more amazing trips because I've had amazing trips since. But we never know, right? When these amazing moments will happen. And they're right. If Cindy spent all her time in this apartment, if I stayed here, the heaviness in this building, number one, because there's a lot of vulnerable in this building that I live in, just in doing the laundry today and in the conversations that I have, and because of the lessons that I take in, right? I practice my craft whenever I can, right? And if it's in my regular day to day, so be it. It's my regular day to day, right? Everything is done now. My day is off, my chores, everything that I needed to get accomplished. Well, that's not true. I have to do my tax return. That was the goal that I set for tomorrow. But I'm thinking about it, and I do believe that tomorrow should be spent a little bit outside. So maybe we'll do two goals. We'll get out a little bit of Mother Nature tomorrow, I still have not gone for a river walk, only because the river didn't even freeze this year. It's absolute, I've never known that to happen. Winnipeg, Manitoba, minus 40 Celsius, minus 50, 60 with the wind chill. And yet, we barely had a winter this year. Absolute. Well, I'm not going to say miracle because I do love winter. And a wet winter is not fun. A wet winter will go right through to your bone. And can you imagine all the people with arthritis? That moisture would have been a real toughie this year in Manitoba, right? So, got to give a little bit to the people out there who suffer from the rheumatoid, or what's the other one my sister has? My sister just got diagnosed with an arthritis. Oh my goodness, I forgot about it. I Googled it too to see what kind of arthritis it was. My mother had 12 different kinds of arthritis, rheumatoid arthritis, that she got diagnosed when she was 30 years old. Can you imagine getting that diagnosis? Right? And it's not like I avoid doctors in order to avoid the diagnoses, right? Because I have been thinking it's time for me to go get a checkup. It's been a long, I'm grateful for my good health. I'm grateful for my good health. And I will not get locked up into that pharmaceutical doctor relationship thing going on. Not a chance. I've seen my own family members get wrapped up in that, and it's heartbreaking. And now, right, it's where we lay our trust, and it's to each one of us to decide where we're going to lay that trust. I think I would like in this moment, because I have such great health, I really would love to give that trust to my own mitochondria. that's that's what I would like to do, because that's what I've always done. And my family, there's lots of illnesses in my epigenetically in my family. We've got heart disease, we've got diabetes, we've got stroke. We obviously have mental health issues. So they say, right? But again, it's in what we allow to come in, right? We can listen to people's hearsay, or we can look to the experts to give us that information. We could search it and dig through it ourselves and make our own assumptions. And that's not always healthy either, right? Because we have lots of blind spots in ourselves, right? So, choices. This is what we're going to talk about tomorrow. We've talked about choices lots because choices tie into a lot of these powerful words that I delve into, right? But I think when we talk about goals, we really do have to talk about the choices that we make, right? But today I said that I wanted to talk about my brand, and you know, it is in my goal setting that I'm still here, right? It was in my determination to show up, right? Every single day. And even though I had no idea what I was going to show up with, I showed up anyway. And you know what? In that process, I learned. In that process, I learned about setting goals amongst many, many, many other things. But that goal was my movement forward, right? That was the snowball on the tip of the mountain peak. And saying that, I have to say, oh my goodness, I got so drained today. And let's see what Sharon's saying. All contraire, I still think you are great, Urbexer, Cindy. Oh, we're not even done yet, Sharon. I'm going to get all that time back. For sure I am, right? This year, I don't know if you heard Sharon, but I'm going to Arizona and Utah on my big trip. Now, I don't know. I was checking the weather of Arizona in September, and it's still really, really hot, 100 degrees. I can't sleep when it's 100 degrees outside. So the trip might have to go in their winter, and they're saying April and May is the best time to go to those states when it's a little bit cooler, when the air is not so dry. I watch YouTubers in Arizona because they have lots of crystals there. So I watch a lot of the rock hounds and stuff, and they're always coughing and hacking and stuff because it's so dry there, right? Plus, taking in the fluids, and that's something I'm not very good at besides coffee. And I got my Be Kind cup today. I have so many cups. Oh my goodness. I'm selling them all. I'm just going to keep my absolute favorites, right? That's how come I haven't been showing up every single day with the different cup, because I'm trying to wean, right? Not just myself, but everybody off the idea that, right, that I need to have a different inspiring cup every day. So I'm just going to keep my favorites. And this Be Kind cup is one of my favorites. Number one, it holds a lot of coffee. Number two, the message on it is absolutely amazing, right? But yeah, I have a lot of cups. I gave half of them away, and I probably still have 30 or 40 fancy cups. So we'll have a garage sale or something this spring, and we'll sell them all, right? But this is the goal setting. This is the planning, right? This is possibly a good way to make some extra money to apply, because I possibly might have to take two vacations this year, right? Because that I'm not going to do Arizona in September. I'm just not going to. It's just too hot. If I went to Arizona, I'd want to be doing the rock hounding. I'd want to be doing outside, right? I want to be doing Mother Nature, maybe a couple of workshops. Who knows, right? But I'd want to be in the air conditioning. And that's not something that's going to make my vacation super, super enjoyable just by wanting and wishing to be into the air conditioning. So it'll be a different month. But April and May, that's only a couple of months away. I don't think a trip like that I would be able to properly plan, because I like to plan, right? I need to find out what mines I want to go to, and I want to make sure that I have all the money and everything so I don't say no to myself and those things that I want. I also want to make a little bit of a trail with some of the people that I know, because if I'm on the road and I'm driving by, right? You want to meet for coffee or something, right? And again, Arizona is pretty close to you, Sharon, isn't it? Right? Maybe I could come and me and you could go for coffee on my way home. That would be really nice. It'd be really super nice to see you on your beat. I hope your son is doing well, right? And I hope you survived the holidays. You got through the holidays good, right? Okay, you guys. So tying it back, because I'm trailing off a side branch again, but that's my thing. That's what I like to do. And there are lessons in that too, right? But in my brand, it's very important that I enjoy what I'm doing, right? But I have to be moving forward, because in the lessons, it has been, right, eye opening to me to recognize that in my goal setting, that reward of saving my brand rewarded me possibly with saving my life in a way, right? to open up my eyes to a life and a realization that I could create something amazing for myself. And in creating something amazing for myself, that possibly somebody else might recognize that and create something amazing for themselves too. I didn't get into YouTube uh, in goal setting, right? I just thought I was going to hit it big like Logan Paul, and I was going to be a YouTube superstar, right? Not really thinking, but that's the imagination, that's the creativity. And lots of times when we don't see those things manifest the way we want them to manifest, right? We become discouraged, we become resentful. Sometimes we see other people moving forward, right? And we become jealous in that. It's not my nature that way because it's in the success, right, of that movement forward that any one of us can be the example for the other, right? So in somebody else being successful, right, and me being the student or the spectator, right, that I might be able to pick up on somebody else's success and to find a better way to do what I'm doing. And that way I can make a better choice, right? And for my brand and right, because I don't have all the answers. I have very few. There's so many answers out there, so many choices out there for each of us, and at any moment we can make a different choice. But those choices are our goals, and I'm not planning on making any choices that's going to put me in a standstill, that's going to put me in my place, that's going to make me freeze or make me not to want to move forward, right? And it's going to be all up to me in my choices, in my goal setting. And to each and every one of us, we get to make those choices, right? That's why we see a lot of non-movement, because choices come with change, and change is not always comfortable. In fact, very rarely when you're moving in change is it comfortable, right? It's only in the reward that we feel better about it, right? Okay. Must admit, I am even amazed at myself with that one. Yes, indeed, it is a beautiful place and was the perfect time of year. Oh, beautiful, beautiful. I am a goal setter, and it's how I move, because there are still blank spots, and there will always be blank spots. But if I take my time and do it in baby steps, if I think things through, if I truly, truly want something, I'm going to create it for myself through my choices. My choices, right, become my goals. And then if they become my goals, I expect them to be uncomfortable. So bring on the change, right? Because that's what it is. You make the choice, change comes. It's not comfortable, but after you do a little while, doesn't seem so bad. And the next thing you know, you can take in a new lesson and you've accomplished something. You got a reward, right? Okay, you guys, that's my good cheer. I'll be back tomorrow. And how did we say we were going to look at it? We were going to look at it the way I'm ending it today. We're going to talk about choices tomorrow in respect to goals. Okay, you guys, have a good night, and we'll see each other tomorrow.